Upanishad, 4th chapter, and the 15th verse. We're on page 156. In the past cycles, he indeed was the protector of the universe. He is the ruler of the universe and dwells in every being. Knowing that God does with whom the great sages, Brahmarshis, and the gods attain identity, one destroys the fetters of death. That's a kind of constant now refrain. Uh, get away from the fetters of death or the fetters of the fetters or like bondage. So, in the past cycles. I mean, uh, yesterday someone was asking me, when does the soul emerge? When is it? When is the starting point? There's no starting point. If you can define a starting point, you can pin a starting point, your whole philosophy will collapse. Because you're making the soul within time and making it a kind of a phenomenal object. That is, it has birth and it has death. We say the soul doesn't have birth or death or any kind of thing. The bodies have all. So the bodies and the minds, of course. So when does this? It keeps on and on and on and on. You cannot know when is the starting point. But here the Svetashvatra Rishi says, in the past cycles, that indeed was a protector of the universe. In the past cycle, when does this cycle commence? The commentator says, when the fruits of the actions of all the beings fructify, then it starts emerging out. Because the universe is made for an experience of the universe itself. And after we have finished off with these various experiences, we experience that which is the protector of the universe. That's what he said. That was the protector of the universe. We've been kept engaged for a while and we've been playing around, and then we start asking, what is the purpose of this creation? What is the goal of life? And who am I? And these questions come up, and then you have the answers also coming up. So that's the reason why, when like Sri Ramakrishna gives an example of, in India we have our grandmothers, they'll keep on collecting things, and storing them, and only she knows what is where. And if anyone goes to she'll shout, she'll yell, don't touch that. But what is that? You might need it some time later. And like Sri Ramakrishna says, she collects some pills and this and bric-a-brac and this and keeps kind of stuff. And when somebody says, where's the needle? Oh, yeah, there's a needle. Yes, but where's the thread? Yeah. She like she said, inexhaustible source of things that we have overlooked. In a similar way, the mother of the universe, Kali, she collects all the seeds of actions of all the creatures and stores them. Yes.
Oh boy.
And when it is time for her to energize these bric-a-brac that she has collected, she does it, and then she creates a universe. Because you need to have the universe as well as your karma, your fruits of action, in order to combine both. Because experience is the subject and object. You cannot have just souls without a universe. What are they? They're floating. That's the reason why you say angels. Yeah, angels also, they are souls floating about, but they have something called a heaven. So okay, fine. Yeah. So we souls, we also okay, fine. Then he created those first 12 Prajapatis, the progenitors. Those first four guys, one day they came. What is this creation you have started? Oh yes, because their minds were so pure, they used to intuit only the reality, not creation. So Brahma is saying yes. Uh, So he touched their heart, and that vibration began in their heart. And as their minds, the heart and the mind, started vibrating on a rapid pace, then they saw, wow, they're saying, wow, look at these oceans and the sky and the planets and the earth and trees, wow, wow. And kept on. When the mind is in that state of vibration, it creates, and you see these things. And they saw this. Then you had enough of it. You've seen what the universe looks like. Yeah. Now Brahma again touches their heart, and the vibration ceases, and they once again intuit the reality. So we are in that stage. Somewhere guy has touched us. Out. The other explanation is Brahmarshis, that is the rishis of the highest, you can say, attainment. There's a Brahmarshi, and there's these Devarshis, and then these Raja rishis. These royal sages and these ascetic sages, they're called Brahmarshis. Yeah, even the gods, they have sages. Amongst the gods, they have sages. So Narada is one of Devarshi. He's he's a sage amongst the gods. Yeah. So these pure souls, they meditate on that supreme reality, and they identify with that. So that's the reason why these examples have been given, with whom the Brahmarshis, the great sages, and the gods attained identity. When then you've got to reach out there. So you reach there, and it's a kind of a motivation also. Yeah, they did it. If Sri Ramakrishna says, there's come some rustic guys had come, and they had come for a kind of a, it doesn't matter, don't bother. Some rustic guys had come for a big feast, and what happened was there was some dishes being served, they couldn't identify. They were looking at each other. Then they saying, those have those gentlemen eaten that? If the gentlemen have eaten that, then it's good enough for us. So Sri Ramakrishna's parable. So if those guys have done it, it's good enough for us. If those guys have done it, it's good enough for us. So those Brahmarshis and these gods, these rishis. So it's like this. That, in other words, it is attainable here, and it has been attained for thousands and thousands of years. So when one attains that, what does one attain? That that being is the internal ruler and the protector of everyone, and begins the whole process of creation. One is saying, One destroys the fetters of death. There. Death, as a commentator says, it's nothing but, it's not death in the way that it is darkness, it's ignorance. That is non-knowledge. So it is non-knowledge that is destroyed. And what remains? Knowledge remains. A kind of a, they say. That's why in uh, Sanskrit it is jnana. Jnana means knowledge. Ajnana means non-knowledge. So just drop the and you got. Yes, because it is not acquiring something new. If it is acquired, then it is subject to origination and dissolution. It's not an acquired, it is a kind of self revelation. It was there, you realize. In Vedanta, they give in the dark of the night, some had gone for a kind of a wedding reception and they were returning. And they were returning, it was dark, and they were trying to ford a small rapid stream. And they did it with difficulty. And after they forded the stream, they came and said, "Hey, let's see." Everyone's there. They counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Oh, where's the 10th guy? And one of us had been swept away. And they're saying, "Hey, just see if you can find." And it's pitch dark. And they all, shouting about it. Another guy, attracted by the shouting, comes and, what's wrong with you all? Saying we were 10 and one, I think one of us has been swept away by the current. So that guy says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Thou art the 10th. You are the 10th. Oh! They were counting, each one was counting, leaving oneself out of the calculation. So when an observer, a neutral person, he said, "You are the 10th." Oh, yeah. So that person was there all the time. So this Atman is there all the time. It's just a question of turning. In one of the Upanishads, said that the self-existent one injured the senses by making them go outwards. A certain wise one, desiring immortality, saw the indwelling self within by turning his senses inwards. So it's like this. Just so at the moment you change your direction, your perception, it's there, it's all over. And that's why they say that changing your kind of perception, that needs a little hard work. Somewhere we don't want to give in so easily. Yes, we are used to this. What about my toys? The child will ask her mother, "Toys? No, you won't have any toys out there in heaven." "Oh, really? I'm not going to go to heaven. I'm going." So something like that. What about my individuality? "Oh, you're not going to have your individuality." Yeah, yeah, I'm not going to give up all this thing. But this individuality itself is a constantly transforming thing. Yeah, a year ago we were something else. Now we have matured. Our individuality has grown, transformed. We like certain things, we dislike certain things, and all these things. So, which is that individuality would you like? Then you say, "Yes, when I go to heaven, I like that individually when I was 19 or 20 years old." Huh, not now, kind of old man. So, that's not individuality. So, real individuality is in the soul. So, this is Mrityupashad. We take the next verse, 16th. Uh, it's on page 158. Knowing Shiva as hidden in all beings, like the very fine film that rises to the surface of clarified butter, and knowing the deity who is the one all encompassing entity of the universe, one becomes free from all bondages. There, once again, all that constantly. Knowing Shiva as hidden in all beings, there, like a very fine layer, when you have the ghee, the clarified butter, uh, a kind of a layer that arises. When you heat it, of course, or you churn it. So spiritual practices are exactly this churning or the heating that takes place in our minds when we try to discover, rediscover this reality. And this churning that it is something that fine kind of layer that arises. There it is. And knowing the deity who is the one all encompassing entity of the universe. There's just like Ishvara, as we know, here it is mentioned as this stage toward the end, we see that the Upanishad itself had a kind of a distinct Shiva character, or they say Shaiva character. It's probably that they were all worshippers of that personal god Shiva, the deity. So whenever he gets a chance, he brings this Shiva inside it. But the commentator is saying is that Shiva also means that auspiciousness and bliss. Yeah. So knowing that auspiciousness of bliss as hidden in all beings, like the very fine layer that rises to the surface of life. So it's like this is there in all beings, the Shiva. So when you want butter, where's the butter? You got to churn that milk. Okay. Yeah. Do I need to? If you want butter, you got to churn that. Okay, put it in churn. Or you simply drink that milk. You don't need. You won't get butter separate. So it is hidden, that inner dweller is hidden in all beings like this, like butter which is in milk. And as we keep on churning that or heating that milk which is us, there rises that layer of called bliss or auspiciousness of beauty. And knowing the deity who is the one all encompassing entity, one becomes free from all. There. So constantly, you have these oil seeds. You have these oil, but where is the oil? Yes, it's in the oil. You need to crush it, and then you get the oil. Simple as that. So how come it's not seen? It's not. It is there. It's not visible now, but there are certain processes one needs to undergo to extract that oil. And if we can do that, in typical Vedantic terminology, is what I am that. I am that. And you keep on thinking about it, hearing about it, and then discard whatever is not you. And as you keep on discarding, that real you manifests. It becomes more and more clear. Oh, I am that. Or rather, I am this. I am not that. So when he says that knowing the deity who is the one all encompassing entity, that is everything, even Brahma, as I say, is nothing but finally just a creator God. From Brahma right down to a clump of grass, that deity is spread everywhere in all beings. And as I say, We need to churn ourselves to discover that being, which is like clarified better. So the Sanskrit is Dhritat param mandamiva ati sukshmam jnatva shivam sarvabhuteshu gudam. So hidden in all being, like the oil is hidden in the seeds. Is that it? In all seeds, in all beings, yes, in all beings. Even in the most heinous, yes. There is no such thing as a heinous person according to divinity. There is certain karma that one has done, and that should not be the final word. Oh, this guy, he or she like this. No, that keeps on transforming. So that's the reason why we shouldn't label certain things as absolute. Oh, this guy is like this. No. So every sinner is a sinner, has a future, as a saint, and every saint has a past, as a sinner. So as we keep on self-correcting ourselves, we will realize that you can say that high state with which is the. So this personality should not be taken as final. Why? Because of that Shiva. That Shiva which is there as bliss and beauty and auspiciousness, which is as again subtle. Vishwas Ekam Parived, that one which is spread out all over in the universe by knowing him, Jnatva, by realizing, but knowing in the sense we generally know a particular thing. There is something called paroksha and aparoksha. Paroksha is first is you have the knowledge of the reality through scriptures or through the words of the guru or through the words of the sages, something that has traditionally come down over the years. So you know where exactly this reality dwells and what's the nature of this reality. You've intellectually grasped it. That's called paroksha jnana. Knowledge which is, you can say, how would you say, direct. Yeah. Yeah, paroksha. Paroksha. Oh, aksha is like no, to see. Yes, to see, the eye. Is it? And then when we see these things, we don't see that reality. Yes, you need something called a aparoksha, immediate knowledge without the agency of the senses and the mind. One can realize this. So there we are. So for a direct knowledge here, sensory knowledge, we need the sense organs, we need the mind, we need the object also. These three things fuse and we have something called knowledge. But for the knowledge of the reality, that object, the senses, and the mind have to be transcended. And then we get something called aparoksha. There's a kind of a small text by Shankaracharya, aparoksha anubhuti, the experience of, we say, transcendental knowledge. That. Mm, so knowing is this aparoksha. You know, at the same time, the other way is like you realize, you know this, that luminous one, Deva, and the one is free from muchate sarvapasha, all bondages. What kind of bondages are there? So in the bondages are in the mind. Nothing. Every thought we think, whatever is related to divinity liberates us. Whatever is related to me and my is has got us. So this me and mind, my body, my mind, my this, my that, my. So it's a noose that we are throwing around ourselves. Every time we say, I, this is mine, and we keep on fighting, quarreling. And that's been the problem with the whole world. We've been quarreling, this is mine. Sri Ramakrishna says that God laughs two times. One is when two brothers are quarreling over the ancestral property. Okay, fine, this is yours and this is mine. We divide it here. Okay, this you, you draw a line and say, yeah, this is yours, this is mine. So God laughs and says, the whole world belongs to me. And these guys are saying, great emperors and kings and all these warriors they have come. This is mine and this is yours. We've been quarreling about this. And the second time God laughs is when the doctor says, don't worry, oh mother, don't worry, I will save your child. God says, oh, the child is going to die. The doctor says, I'm going to save. So, so God laughs two times. Actually, he's continuously laughing. So we are constantly quarreling with these two things. So here we have this laughter. Of course, we can hear the laughter, like Swami Vivekananda says. Yeah, it will liberate you. Hey, God is laughing at your stupidity. Okay. So the less of this, but then what about me? If this I and mine and me and yours is all going, what happens? Oh, one way the whole of ethics is trying to lead you to a place beyond this I and mine. What is ethics and morality? Trying to make you expand beyond your own, we can say, world and try to see others as you see yourself. That's what it is. Here you say the ethics are okay, fine. This is real, you can say ethics. But that's what we are trying to teach. The Upanishad will say, you go beyond this limitation, go beyond these uh, small crystallized feeling, this and that and this and that. It's like when somebody gets a kind of a new gadget, oh, so interested, or before procuring the gadget, a new iPhone in the market, and people will line up couple of days before. Let's have that kind of iPhone, and they sleep out in the tent and this and that, so they can get the first, you can say, phone when the store opens in the morning. Crazy. That same person after 1 year, I want a higher model or I want something else. He's not so enamored of that phone anymore. All of us are like that. We rush into things. I want this, I want this, I want this. It will enrich me. And after a while, then they say, hey, I got a phone. Do you want it? Yeah. We all have that tendency. We all are going towards that. Somehow we don't recognize it. Of course, Swami Vivekananda puts it graphically. With clenched hands, we come to grab and hold. And nature puts her hands on our throat and makes us open. There you go. Yeah, give. And that is what, once we can understand, this is the basis of not only morality, but this is the basis of life. And this is the basis of the reality. Yes, the reality is. So we keep on spreading and spreading and spreading and spreading. So this is what. That's a nice one. Like I said, these mantras are experiences, but they're also in a form of adoration. Adore that. Yeah, whom else do you? Kasmai Deva. There, what other God is there for us to adore? You are that. Uh, uh, there are a lot of funny stories. I say. Uh, we think we find our true love, and then after some time we say, no, that's not a true love. We keep on searching, and then you find out, no, it's not that. It's not that. I've never found a true love. You've not been searching in your own heart that true love. If you really love yourself, you will love everyone that same way. You wanted someone else to fill you with love because you are feeling a kind of a vacuum. Hey, it's not that. So, uh, why do you search for love? And half of this literature and cinematic, you can say, uh, depictions of love, either that person has missed the bus or he or she is in the bus and they are miserable. We don't see love as something divine. It is the divine quality. Truly, if you love, you don't need anything more. That love is so full, so fulfilling, and so blissful. And you take this, and you take that, and you take this, and take that, and what? Oh, I love this, and then discard that. I love this, and then discard it. And what's that person? Is not that person not taking responsibility. Somewhere in love, what happens is all the defects come. Ah. And one needs to correct oneself for love to even flourish. We don't want to do that. So when we want to worship God, you worship God because you love God, not because that God, you see, that God cures my stomach ache, and that God gives me a new Mercedes Benz, and this God gives me a new pair of shoes. You want all these things. No, we don't need all this kind of uh, small, you can say, desires. You run to this person, that to this God. So what God? We go to the source of everything. That is that reality. And truly, we are seeking that. It's only we are hiding ourselves from partly. We are seeking and with the eyes closed. You're going around saying, hey, where's the reality? Then somebody says, oh, it's, drop your arms, you'll see that reality. And saying, no, I want to see the reality. Yes, yes, you closing eyes. Right. Because you have to intuit, you have to realize that reality in and through your own soul. So if one is not aware of one's soul, the beauty and the majesty of one's own soul, how will we experience that beauty and majesty of that universal God? So this is where we've been running about trying to. No, no, that's okay. We can transcend our individual souls. No, yeah, you can later, but you need to grapple with it. And once you can grapple, we can see that this is a reality. So we just read for now. mm, This effulgent one, uh, the fourth chapter, 17th verse, page 159. This effulgent one, whose work is this universe and who is all pervasive, is ever present in the hearts of beings. He is revealed through the instructions, not this, through discriminating intelligence and through the knowledge of unity. Those who know this self, they become immortal. It's a little longish translation. Mm. The idea is that Rida, Manisha, Manasa, Viklipto. Actually, this is found also in the Kathopanishad, the first two lines. So, mm, yeah, Hrida Manisha Manasa Viklipto. Esha Devo Vishwakarma Mahatma Sada Jananam Hridaya Sannivishta. The first three lines, sorry, the last line. Hrida Manisha Manasa Viklipto. So it's there in the Upanishad. It's quite a famous. It's realized by that intelligence, which is the ruler of the mind, and that reality which is in the heart. What reality? That reality is effulgent and whose work is this universe. So we have a guy who is working, how much I am working. So we'll take this up next class. We'll make an announcement. Next week, there will be no class. Wednesday and Friday, just for next week. I'm going out for a small tour.
Where are you going?
Oh, where are you going? Yeah. Uh,
Summer
yeah, to Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah. And Pastor Paul will be, you'll be there, of course.
I'll be here.
Hi.
Oh.
I'm going to Seattle. He's come from Seattle here.
I'll teach the class.
Oh, why not?
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Namastu. Yeah, so we can leave